Hello, everyone. This is Dougie Fresh, aka Kb2uka, and you're probably asking yourself, Doug, why so bland? Why do you sound so normal? I sound like this because we got a flat EQ here. Flat EQ, no effects processing, no exciters, no compressor, no reverb, just a nice flat EQ. And I'm going to make a quick little video here. How to get started with EQing for amateur radio. The video title's going to be called How to EQ for SDR Radios. And the reason I'm calling it that is I predict that if you want to start using either graphic EQs or parametric EQs, that's what this is. This is a parametric EQ. Excuse me. You're probably doing it because you want to start to have that real nice, robust, wide-banded audio. The basics here that I'm going to give you can apply to any radio. And I'm going to try to guide you that way when I'm giving you the basics. And because of that, I'm going to do a 3K ESSB EQ. And I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. A little sinus thing going on here. Which will also be interesting. I'm a little more nasal than normal. So I'm going to do a 3K ESSB EQ for you guys. Now, a couple of disclaimers. You've heard this before. I cannot stress this enough. Audio with amateur radio and with anything is 100%, 90% subjective. There's some basic stuff which I'm going to go over with you here that's objective. But what sounds good to one person will not sound good to somebody else. And I deal with that every day. So here's what I've learned. Get it to sound good to yourself in a recording or a good pair of monitor headphones. Get it to where you're like, that's how I want to sound. You can also transmit to a local web SDR and record that web SDR on your computer and monitor yourself that way and listen back to it. So you could get it to where you think it sounds good on a web SDR. You can also take a second transceiver, put a, 4-foot piece of coax. Just don't transmit with it. Put a 4-foot piece of coax on the antenna port and try to monitor yourself with a pair of headphones into that second transceiver while you're transmitting into a dummy load. But what sounds good to you might not sound good to someone else. So once you get it to where you like it, then I highly recommend you hook up with someone who has the same audio preferences that you do. You're both trying to achieve the same thing, and have them give you their opinion over the air. And if you hook up with the right people, they might be able to help you tweak some of these EQ settings. So that's my disclaimer. Hell, I'm probably going to get this right now, and I'm doing this live, though this is a recording, but right now I'm doing it live. I'm going to probably get this somewhere where I think it sounds good, and I'm sure a lot of people won't like it. And you know what? Tough. So here we go. This is a parametric EQ. This could be done, and this is a wave audio parametric EQ that I purchased. This could be done with any parametric EQ. It could be done with a physical piece of hardware that's a parametric EQ. It could be done with parametric EQ in any DAW application, any digital audio workstation application, any VST plugin, any audio unit plugin, whatever you got. So let me just give you the basics here of a parametric EQ. So I don't know how, I'm trying to blow this up bigger, and it doesn't appear that I could do that. Yeah, I can't get it any larger. And when I go to stretch it out, nothing happens. So this is it. So you might have to zoom in. On the far left-hand side down here is 16 hertz. On the far right-hand side is about 20,000 kilohertz. And we need to work with that somewhere in the middle. So the way I get started, I decide what my transmit bandwidth is going to be. So I've got these built out for 4K ESSB, where they're nice and bright with a pretty decent low end. I've got them built out for 4K Voodoo, where they're still bright, but a lot more low end, that real rumble, make the room shake, make the monitors shake type of low end. Then I've got them built out for 6K, for 8K. My AM profile goes all the way out to 10K. So you have to decide what's going to be your playground. What are you going to be transmitting? What type of bandwidth? And for this little demonstration, we're going to pretend we're building out, we're going to build out an EQ for 3 kilohertz bandwidth. So I like to start with, what are my bumpers? So how low am I going to go for a 3 kilohertz bandwidth? And I think for this example, I'm going to go to 75 hertz low. All right. So this is my low cut right there. That means wherever I set this, everything below it's going to be cut out of the audio spectrum. Not going to hear it, or barely going to hear it. So what I like to do, if 75 hertz is going to be my lowest, I usually do a cutoff right below that. So I'm going to cut off around 65 hertz. And I'm going to turn that on. Well, would you look at that? Boom. 65 hertz and down is out of the audio spectrum. So let's try that again. Let's shut that off. Okay, so now the low cut is off. Let's bring up an analyzer. Boom, 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 boom. See with that low bass, I'm getting some activity down here in the low range. Oh, I'm so congested. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. So now you saw that little bit of activity between like 20 hertz and 62. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So now we're going to turn that back on. Okay. Ooh, I already heard it lighten up a little bit in the headphone monitor. You might have heard that as well. So let's see. Boom, 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 boom. See? No activity. I just cut it out. Low cut, high cut, very, very important. So now, let's go work the other bumper, right? The other bumper is going to be the high cut. Same exact concept. I'm going to cut everything out above the frequency that I choose for my high cut. So I said I'm going to build out a 3K profile. So I'm just moving these out of the way so I have more room to work with. So if I'm going to build out a 3K profile, I would probably do my high cut right around, I don't know, at this point, probably 3,500. So let's get down to 3,500. Just spinning the wheel here, trying to fine tune it. 34.95. I'd rather err on the higher side. 35.20. All right, now watch this. Boom. Oh no. Oh no, I got rid of all that high end. Oh no. So now we got to play with the frequencies in between. See how horrible that sounds? So, I like, for clarity ESSB audio, I don't like a lot of low end. That's just me personally. For the voodoo stuff, I love it. And you guys have heard me with the voodoo profiles, and it's got that real big rumble. But right now, all I hear is flatness and mud. So I got to clear that up. Okay? So we're going to start EQing. I'm going to start probably in the 80 hertz range. So let's go down here. I want to get rid of a little bit more. I want to control that low end now. So, a couple of settings on a parametric EQ that I use. So frequency is obviously the frequency you want to adjust. So right now we're set on 80 hertz. The Q is the bandwidth of how many frequencies around the set frequency are you going to affect when you do your cut or your boost. Okay? So if you notice here, let me start cutting, and gain is cutting. So if I'm negative, I'm cutting. If I'm going positive gain, I'm boosting that frequency. So I want to cut. So I'm going to cut about, oh, see, it's already clearing up. I'm going to cut about 2.5 dB. All right, now watch what happens when I adjust the Q. If I raise the Q, hold on. If I lower the Q, the bandwidth is wider. See how that's affecting this whole space here between 80 and pretty much, I'm going to guess like 450-ish, 480 range. That's too much. So I want to sharpen the Q and raise it up. Okay, I just want to cut right around there. I want to make sure I'm cutting the 80. Let's see. See how sharp that is? Because the Q is high. Now, a lower Q, again, will be wider band, more broadband. Lower Qs sound more natural, in my experience. Okay, so I'm going to do, you might hear a cat in the background. That's one of many. So, but for the low end, I don't want to affect too much. I want to affect right around there. All right. Now look, watch this. Kb2uka, Kb2. Whoa, you hear that bass? Boom, 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 boom. Nope. I want to be clear. I want to make a nice, clear rag chew 3K EQ. So I want to get rid of a lot of this. I'm going to take a little bit down here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just a little cut. With a low Q, I like being a little bit off the line here, up until about 500. 1, 2. Now 500, the mud likes to live, at least for me. Remember, my voice is different than yours. Now, if you look at the analyzer, 1, 2, 1, 2. Look at all that growth there between, let's see, 1, 2, 1, 2, audio. Between like 305 and 300 and 800. That's a big area for me to do some small cuts to get a little bit more clarity. And I highly suggest you Google vocal EQ effects or vocal EQ ranges. There's a lot of good reading on what frequencies control what in the audio spectrum for the human ear and the human voice. So I'm going to slide this bad boy over to 500. Okay. And I'm going to do a pretty sharp cut. Have a Q of about 4.5 in the 500 range. Okay. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Brightened up a little bit. Notice I have no boosts yet. I will, but the old montage is boost, cut before you boost. And man, oh man, it has a nice effect. I want to cut this a little bit more. 1, 2, audio, audio. You could see it beginning to come alive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if you look at this with my normal volume of my voice and normal speech pattern, I'm a little low here in the 2 to 3K range. Yeah, on certain consonants it pops. That's where all the clarity is. So again, every voice is different. I have a relatively sharp voice, so I like to have that stand out. Again, also, I didn't mention this, every microphone is going to be different. The response rate of the microphone, the frequency range of the microphone, whether you're on a condenser mic or a dynamic mic. I'm on a condenser mic. So let's start making this bad boy bright. So let's see. Let's stretch this out a little bit. So now, pretty much, I want to do another little cut in the 800 range. A lot of mud hangs out between 5 and 800, in my experience. So I want to do another little sharp cut here. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, that's almost -3. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Now, from about 1.4K or 1400 hertz, I like to start the climb. So now I'm going to have a lower Q, because remember, I want to affect more of the area, more of the bandwidth. Oh, would you look at that? Okay, little bit of a boost in that 1400 range. And I'm going to top it off right around 2500. Because 2500 is where all the brightness comes from. Well, based on everything I've read in the human voice. So let's see. Oh boy. I'm doing a nice boost there. Oh, would you listen to that? Would you listen to that nice brightness? Maybe I'll stretch it out a little bit. Kb2uka. Kb2. Well, that's too much. Kb2uka. All right, let's see. Now I want to just tweak it a little bit. 1, 2, 1, 2. This is Kb2uka. Got a little bit too much up here. And then you just drag it down to where you think it sounds okay. All right, so let's see the spectrum. So here we go. We have our low cut at 65 hertz. We have our high cut at 3500. And let's see where we're... Now, even though the high cut is at 3500, my voice is still going to get picked up here. And there's frequency ranges above 4K, obviously, in my voice. but your radio will not be transmitting that if you have your transmit bandwidth set to 3000 wide and 75 low, or wherever you want to put it. But you'll see everything in here is relatively balanced. So if I was transmitting right now, this is Kb2uka calling CQ, CQ, CQ40. Based on what I'm seeing here, guys, this is Kb2uka. I actually want to not cut something as much as I did. I want to bring this up a little bit, this 500 range, Kb2uka. Oh, listen to that change. Listen to that. I'm still cutting there. 1, 2, 1, 2. But just a little less cut. Let's go right to 500. 1, 2. I might want to widen. No, let's see. I want to widen that. Lower the Q. Drag this down like that. 1, 2. 1, 2. Kb2uka. Whoa, you hear that? That's called an artifact. Kb2uka. Kb2. 1, 2. Guys, this isn't pretty when you're doing it. And I'm trying to do this in a quick time frame here. Where's that 800? Yep. Okay. See that little boost right there? I don't like that. So I have to adjust the Q. And now I got to bring that back up. 1, 2. 1, 2. Let me adjust the Q here. Okay. 1, 2. Kb2uka. This needs to be a little bit higher. This is Kb2. There it is. I hear it now. All right. Kb2uka. All right. I think, let's see what the analyzer's showing. This is Kb2uka calling CQ, CQ, CQ40, Kilowatt Bravo 2, Uniform Kilowatt America. And there you have it, folks. We've got a 3K EQ that I would not be shy to use. I have a feeling this is going to be very bright. It's going to cut through a lot of QSB. And obviously, to get all the magic, I like to add all the other effects, which I'm not going to talk about in this video. I have them all off. So listen, here's the EQ on, Kb2uka. Here's the EQ off, Kb2uka. Nope, wrong one. Ha! Live TV, folks. Here's the EQ on, Kb2uka. Now here's the EQ off, Kb2uka. Kb2uka. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. And remember, I'm just playing in 3 kilohertz here, right? So this is for you guys that can only go 2.9. The same applies for all the SDR guys that just want to have a little bit better sounding audio. And mind you, no matter what SDR you're using, you don't even have to download this crap. Most of you guys have parametric EQs built into the SDR software, right? Whether it's the Anon, the Sun, or even the other radio. You've got it built in there. But you'll notice the spectrum here. Look how balanced this is, right? I think I'm going to stretch my low cut out a little bit. See that cut right there? It's happening too soon. So I'm going to... oh, see? Okay. There we are. Now that's now I could cut this back a little bit. 1, 2. Okay. So that's a pretty EQ right there. You could, remember I said have the low cut and the high cut a little bit higher than where your transmit bandwidth's going to be. I could stretch this bad boy all the way out to 10K, but if my transmit bandwidth's only 3K, that's not going to get absorbed into RF and sent out across the beautiful airways. So I hope what I just did made sense. Again, parametric EQ. Low cut is where you want all those frequencies to go away below a certain frequency range. High cut is where you want all those frequencies to go away at a higher end frequency range. And then what are you playing with in the middle? Again, you see, I could raise the bass up a little bit. I could definitely tweak this better, but this is just kind of. Let me bring that up a little bit. It's starting to really sound like myself in the monitors here. So, basic EQing 101. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment down below if you have any questions. Shoot me an email. But you'll see, this really brightened it up. This is EQ. This is no EQ. EQ, no EQ. 3 kilohertz EQ. And a lot of fun. A lot of tweaking. It'll drive you friggin' crazy. But man, oh man, when you've got it down right, you've got it down right. And just for reference here, here's my 4K. Oh, I hear a doggy. Okay, here's my 4K EQ, my 4K Voodoo, and now I've got all the wonderful effects in play. So it's a waterfall. It starts with the EQ, then into whatever effects you're going to be running, then into the radio. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a great week. This is Doug, Kb2uka 73.